Of Birch Street Baptist Church here in Eau Claire, and I want to thank our Congressman Representative Derek Van Orden for the privilege and honor to offer the prayer today. I want to also thank Custer Farms for hosting this special roundtable event. Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished guests, our nation was founded upon biblical principles, and these principles must remain in place both as a nation and as in our great state of Wisconsin. Righteousness must prevail. Proverbs chapter number 14, verse number 34 says, righteousness exalteth a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Gentlemen, please remove your hats as we pray. Ladies, gentlemen, and distinguished guests, let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, Lord, we do thank you and praise you for all that you do for us. Lord, thank you for the privilege that we have to live in a free country. Lord, thank you for the beautiful weather you've also given to us. Lord, thank you for also our president that we have. And Lord, we thank you that he is willing to stand up for farmers. And Lord, I just pray that you'd continue to bless him. Lord, I pray that that you would continue to protect him and our vice president as well and their families. Lord, I pray that as they bring a message of righteousness and common sense to our nation, that others will listen. Lord, I pray for Senator Johnson and Congressman Van Orden and many of our state and local elected officials. Lord, I pray that you'd keep them safe as well. Lord, give them wisdom. Lord, we also know that Satan would like to divide our country, but we pray that, Lord, you would help each of them to get elected and be able to unite our communities and our state once again. Lord, I pray that you'd help us to be a light. Matthew chapter number 5 and verse 16 says, let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Lord, I pray that you would help us to glorify you even here today. Lord, I do pray for somebody here listening to the sound of my voice. Lord, maybe they don't understand the gospel. Lord, help them to understand that the gospel is simply this. Jesus Christ came to this earth. He died on the cross. He was buried and he rose again to give new life to them. Lord, help them to put their faith and trust as best they know how in Jesus as their only way into heaven, even here today. Lord, help Christians to get out and vote this coming August and even November here in our state. Lord, that we would turn the tide of the elections in our nation as a whole. And I pray that we would see President Trump, that he would be led by the Holy Spirit as he leads our nation as a whole. Give him wisdom and direction in all that he says and does. I pray that Christians would turn to you as well, Lord. Lord, that they would seek you, but more importantly, that they would humble themselves and turn from their wicked ways. 2 Chronicles 7:14 says, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven and will forgive their sin and will heal their land. Lord, hear us today, forgive us today, and heal our land once again. Lord, I pray for righteousness, reason, and common sense to prevail in the elections this fall. I pray that our nation, our state, yes, even our community can be united as Americans, and that we would see your hand of blessing continue upon our nation and upon our great state of Wisconsin. Bless now this event here today, and we'll be sure to give you all praise and glory for it. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Brian Schimming as he leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
How you doing there for the win? Good to see you. Thanks for coming in.
I'm on the car phone right now, so first time on the phone here, but figured at
Ladies
least.
and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Tony Nasvik to sing our national anthem.
I was wanting to go to this rally, but it just didn't happen, unfortunately. But it is what it is.
Test 1, 2. There we go.
Well, you got a good look here for the win.
Isn't this a great afternoon? Woo! We're going to sing the national anthem. I ask everybody to remove your cover, please. And let's raise the roof on this thing in praise to our God. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through that night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Well, the rally has started. This is in Wisconsin. For the win, I can't remember the town that it is in. Can you tell me?
Yeah, it's in Chippewa Falls.
Oh, Chippewa
So
Falls. That's right.
Yeah, it's like right next to Eau Claire, Wisconsin, on the
Sure.
north side of things.
Not that far from you.
I'm about 3 hours away.
I was going to say, that's not very far.
No.
I do know that that President Trump has landed there. When I was setting up the stream, he was just landing. So the thing is slated to start at 3:30. I went live just a little bit before so we could catch all the opening ceremonies, et cetera, et cetera. So he will be speaking here shortly.
Yep,
So
you know, they always give you a time, and we're on Trump time sometimes, and you know, it's usually half hour, 45 minutes, an hour after that time when he actually starts it off. But you know,
absolutely.
they put on a good production, you know, in the meanwhile at least. So
Sure, they absolutely do. Do you know exactly? I mean, the sign in the background says "Fighting for American Farmers." Do you have any more insight to what this is discussing today?
I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I'm sure it's probably about the farmers, and it's probably going to be more about industry and manufacturing, because there's a lot of that here in Wisconsin. So I'm sure he'll touch on that as well too.
Well, I'm sure.
I think with yesterday, he said Wisconsin was one of those states with the coal. I thought there was like something about refining or coal or something like that that they were going to be building here now too.
Sure, it could
So-
be. And I wanted to ask you, have you heard of any new data centers going up in Wisconsin anywhere?
Yeah, there's one down in it's right next to Kenosha, south of Milwaukee. There's a big one going down over there, but I've heard them popping up in around places like Madison and cornfields all over the place and stuff. But
Sure.
driving around here, I do see signs saying no data centers, no this, no that. So there's a lot of that going on here. But give me like a couple minutes here. I'll be right back here. Okay.
Sure, no problem. We will stay here waiting for you. So we'll see what comes out of this. We are live over on the Spin City News channel, on the Benjamin Balderson channel, X, Rumble, and Pilled.net. We will see exactly what comes out of this here shortly. But as I said, President Trump has landed and is en route, or at least right before I went live, was en route to this roundtable with farmers in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. For the win is a Wisconian, and I invited him in. He can give some more insight on times and everything here in Wisconsin when he is back from taking his constitutional or whatever he has to do to get ready for this live session. It was slated to start 1 minute ago at 3:30 Eastern time, but we are on Trump time, so it may start later on, but we can open the floor for comments, concerns, chat, questions as they come in. I am the Angry American, also known as Spin City News, and the panelist on America Rising Media. Some news from this morning. Unfortunately, we had another protest in New York City at the NASDAQ building where, according to some conspiracy theorists, left-wing radical liberals, and whatever else they may be, they are saying that SpaceX, or excuse me, Elon Musk is about to become a trillionaire. They are stating that SpaceX is being put into the NASDAQ. So a group of about 20 people were out there holding professionally made signs saying, "Stop Elon from taking our money, our 401k, our retirement benefits, etc., yada, yada, yada." And then last night they had their annual, their daily ICE protest in Newark, New Jersey, where it became left-wing agitators out there taking bike fences and ramming them into law enforcement officers yet again. And then they pushed them and ran them down the street, which then in turn got them more angry because they couldn't be in front of Delaney Hall in Newark, New Jersey. Pathetic.
I'm back, Ben.
All right, for the win. Yep, I was just filling our audience in. We have some people watching right now. We have some people over on Pilled watching. You know, these protests are just becoming an everyday occurrence. I mean, about something. You know, last night for the win, they had the NYPD gala protest where, again, 12 to maybe 20 people were out there screaming obscenities. And the ironic part is NYPD was that right there beside them, protecting them from potential violence. And then Newark kicked off after that, as I was saying, which became violent. And then this morning, they were protesting Elon Musk because SpaceX, or whatever his company is going to be publicly traded on the NASDAQ. So there was about 15 or 20 of them out there. You know, just screaming obscenities and stuff like that. I mean, it's just getting ludicrous. Every day they're screaming and fighting about something else. I mean, I don't know how you feel for the win, but
Well, you know, it's 15 to 20. It's not a whole throng of them, and we've seen that as well too. But you know, what else are they going to do? I mean, they have, you know, constitutional rights to do what they're doing to some degree, as long as it's peaceful. So,
you know 17 Eric over on pill.net says the topic doesn't matter as long as they got angry, anti-Trump, anti-American, angry people. It's just getting old and worn out.
what will be very apparent though is when this conflict with Iran, when everything is completed, and I saw it now today again, that gas prices have gone down even more now, and the status quo is unchanged, but yet those prices are dropping, and they're going to keep dropping. And when the conflict is done and they're down to levels that we've never seen before, what do you stand out there for? What they told you is not the truth at that point. So it'll be interesting to see if these protesters are still coming out when it's very apparent that he's doing the right thing for the country.
Yeah, and you know, just fed up over on pill.net says protesters have become common. So there's no shock and awe like when it first started. Now we just expect stupid people to do stupid things. Absolutely. I could not more agree with you than I am now. Liz over on Pilled sends a cookie in. Thank you very, very much, Liz. We much appreciate it. Thank you for your support over on Pilled.net. You know, the people that just want to go out there and scream and argue. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Just fed up. I am just expecting stupid people to do stupid things. It's not that it surprises me, just fed up. It shocks me in the way, or in a way, that they come up with new and inventive things to scream at. And I don't know for them.
And she's absolutely right. Like, at first we were like, oh wow, look at these protests, holy cow. But now we're just so numb and used to it that we're like, yeah, this is what they do.
Just another stupid reason. Just another stupid reason to go out and scream at people. And you know, all of they talk about waste of taxpayers' money, right? Look at the resources they're wasting with people having police having overtime because they're out there standing screaming at each other. And you know, they're trying to stop them from hurting each other or hurting other people or other law enforcement. But at the same time, you got to wonder why these people are even wasting their time. They're not going to change. They're not going to change anything with their resistance. But you know, they say resistance is futile. I don't know how you feel for the win, but I just get tired of seeing it. And it's not that I'm looking for it. It's just very prevalent. I mean, it seems like they start around 4 or 5 o'clock Eastern time here in the state of Florida, and it goes till 6 or 7, completely disrupts traffic, completely disrupts other people, other people's day for a cause that, yeah, okay, they're out there, they're screaming at each other. Okay, it's funny for about a minute, and then all of a sudden it's gone. You know, I don't know, for the win.
Well, you know, all it is it's meant to disrupt, cause attention. Otherwise, you know, if they didn't get attention from it, would they ever do stuff like this?
Well, no, you're absolutely right. But at the end of the day, what are the only thing they're disrupting is their life. You know, I ask a gentleman, a few, and I want to talk about this for a second. I asked this gentleman one day, I was out covering a protest and documenting it. And I asked him, I said, are you really willing to risk your safety and your freedom to come out and stand on the street and, you know, disrupt your life as well as everybody else's? And he says, you know, that's a good question. Nobody's ever asked me that question. I said, let me add a little bit more to that. Are you willing to potentially get arrested or get hurt for politics? Something that you cannot change only every 4 years. He said, that's a good question.
It's a great question. You know, and sometimes and sometimes these people just need a flat out reality check.
I mean, you know, we see all these these violent protests and you know, police having to use chemical agents and munitions and stuff like this. There is a degree of risk behind this. And it just seems like it's the young crowd. You're not seeing older people like yours and my age, for the win, out there protesting. It's young people that need, in my opinion, how do they call it? The need to be a part of something. There's an educated word there, or self-importance. There it is. They need to have a sense of self-importance, but what is it really accomplishing? And here's the other thing that I discovered through talking to some friends up in the Northwest. These are not just kids that live rent-free in their parents' basement. These are nurses, doctors, law enforcement out there doing this, but they're hiding themselves. And the ironic part about it is if they are discovered to be out there, they're going to lose their job. So I then asked this guy, what do you do for a living? And he says, well, that's none of your business. I said, do you really think that your boss or your superiors may or may not see this on the 5 o'clock news tonight and recognize you? How long do you think you will have a job? And he says, I don't give you permission to record me. We're on a public sidewalk. That's what I told him. I said, don't you think don't you think you would want all the cameras in the world here to see this? No, it's nobody's business. And I'm done talking to you. Don't publish it. You don't have permission. Guess what I did for the win?
You published it.
Published it 5 minutes later.
And I think that disconnect with these people, they think that, oh, just because I say you can't videotape me on a public sidewalk or whatever, they have no idea what the laws of the land are. So
Nope.
when these are the people out there protesting and such like that, they don't even know the rules to begin with. They live in this fantasy reality land.
Well, and technically, them blocking my cameras, blocking my right of passage, stuff like that, that is harassment, or in the state of Florida, a misdemeanor.
I mean, I can't imagine being charged with something that foolish and stupid.
They just have no concept.
There was a gentleman down by you. I saw a video. This is probably like 2-3 years ago, but he had severe TDS, and he saw, I think, a Trump bumper sticker on a vehicle, and he ended up keying the car. And it was a Tesla, and they got it all on video. They figured out who it was and everything. And then the police showed up. The wife answered the door.
Oh,
and they were like, we need your husband, man. And she goes, what the hell did you do? Are you stupid? What did you do? And then the guy was just like, yeah, I don't know what came over me. I don't know.
Yeah, we all know. Well, we all know. I just, these people are deranged. And they need to go see a psychiatrist or a psychologist. And it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy on the things that they do, the things that they say. And it's astounding and astonishing what they say. And I just got something in from one of my mods. I'm going to read it to you. President Trump is holding the agriculture roundtable at Cooster Farms in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin, designed to address mounting financial pressure on the U.S. agricultural sector. That is what he is there to talk about shortly. So that is the premise behind this roundtable.
And if I'm not mistaken, Isn't this like it's a round table, right? It's not like a
Yes,
regular
it's a
rally.
round
Yeah.
table. Yeah. So there's him and I believe a bunch of farmers, stuff like that, to discuss their issues and their mounting problems. And this is how things get done. A conversation. Not standing out in the middle of the street screaming and throwing rocks and 2x4s and 4x4s at law enforcement horses. This is not how it's done. But they just don't understand and get it, do they?
It's pretty childish, but at the same time, I like.
Listen, I don't have a problem with people protesting. I don't. It's the First Amendment, freedom of speech. But there is a point and a line that you have to draw between what's freedom of speech and what is riotous behavior.
Well, and then like their guy, quote unquote, won in 2020. Oh, there's no stolen elections because everything went back to normal. Our guy's in charge now. And then he comes back and it's all this mayhem and anarchy and everything else because their way of life of what they believe in is being taken away from them.
Yeah. And here's the other irony. Here's the other irony, or the ironic thing. Just Fed Up over on pill.net says all they are given is talking points. They can't put any fact to anything they say, and it makes them even madder.
I have an uncle who has severe Trump derangement syndrome, and when you try to talk to him about anything, he'll sit there for about 5 seconds and runs away.
Of course,
they literally
they
cannot handle it. They can't handle it.
They cannot handle it. Rasta says, I wonder if it has anything to do with the 1970s, 80s rise in popularity of non-committal relationships. Something is missing with their generation. It very well could be, and even a percentage of mine, Rasta says over on pill.net.
And it was kind of interesting, actually. Last night, I watched an episode, a clip of The Price is Right from 1982.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And when you see the people in the audience and everything, the way they're dressed, they're all dressed in dress shirts, polos, collared shirts. Women are wearing dresses very modestly and everything. And I only saw one person wearing a t-shirt.
Well, and you're right. It's a generational thing. It absolutely is. It absolutely is.
Like, they have destroyed what society is and means and everything. And that now you can just be like, you know what? I'm going to wake up. I'm going to go to Wally World. I'm going to go do my shopping in my pajamas. How far we have fallen as a society and everything is all of this is also culminating into destroying America from within.
Well, and I used to make a joke, and I still make the joke. Don't, after 11 o'clock, or excuse me, go to Walmart before 11 o'clock in the morning. Don't go to Walmart after 11 o'clock at night if you really want to see the freak show. Rasta says, Gen Xer for reference. We wore ripped jeans, punk metal t-shirts, and bandanas. Rasta says that over on pilled.net. Darius, I'd like to know about this. Darius over on YouTube says, did you hear parts of Maryland are being flooded out? Get it together, people. Flooded out by what? I'm curious if you can give me a little bit more context to that. Flooded out by what? Okay, then don't. Okay. And also today, one of today's talking points for the win is he will be talking about the tariffs and the farmers assistance program. And that's another thing he's going to address today in this roundtable in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Oh, okay. Okay, I apologize. I wasn't sure what you were claiming or what you were referring to. Darius says water climate change. Can you help me with that for the win? Because I guess we have some climatists in the chat today.
Well, it's not being a climatist, Spin. There are some areas in that DC area, Maryland area, I believe they're under a severe drought.
Right. Well, I mean, I think any time in the summer or the late spring that, you know, there are drought conditions, but I don't know if they're going to run out of water. I mean, Washington, D.C. is surrounded by water. I just saw a live picture of the reflecting pond that was just fixed, and it's landlocked by water. So I don't know. I don't know if DC is going to run out of water. I mean, obviously they will. If they are running low on water, they will be able to. The United States is, you know, very good about bringing water to people, other than in LA, and that's another.
Well, sure. But from an agricultural standpoint of growing crops and stuff, being a farmer and everything, it's nice to have some rain. It makes life a lot easier. That is.
Oh yeah. So. Oh yeah. Oh yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. You know. You know, it is tough. It is tough for, you know, farmers. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It is tough for farmers, but is it the U.S. government that's making it tough for farmers for the win? Or is it people buying non-American products?
Well, when it comes to drought conditions, my first thought is always about weather modifications and are they creating these conditions to exist? Because I think that is happening to some degree here too.
Who is creating the conditions?
I don't know. I don't know who they are, but there's people in the powers that do the chemtrails and everything else, and that a lot of the geoengineering that they do with that stuff can lead to these things. So who is doing it on purpose? I can't tell you the who, but there are people, unelected bureaucrats of these agencies and whatever, that allow this to happen and such like that. So
sure. Well, I mean, anything is possible. I mean, I don't think we will ever know the full weight or who's actually doing it. I mean, I just think it's crazy. And Lone Wolf comes in and says Trump took care of farmers in his first term. Based off of historical precedent, he will do the same this term. Do you have any comment for that for the win?
1 second here. Hold on.
Sure. You know, I just get irritated with oh, for the win, the fourth wise man comes in and says, as soon as crop farmers get away from supply contracts, the better the farm is and the better the farmers are. That's a good statement. It's a very good statement. And Just Fed Up over on pill.net says Trump made deals with China on his visit to help farmers. And the fourth Wiseman, good to see you, sir. Thank you for coming in. For the fourth Wiseman says monocropping is the worst way to grow food. I don't know. I think, you know, everybody is so against the man. They forget to look at things that he's doing to help. And, you know, to most people, we've got the action coming up to the stage. I don't want to play the music, obviously. YouTube's very sensitive about that.
Everybody today. Wisconsin, are you ready for a new governor? Yeah. Yeah. How would you like to have a governor that knows a little bit about milking cows here in June Dairy Month? Yeah. Yeah. You know, our opponents earlier this week posted a picture of a couple what were livestock, but they were not cows that could produce milk. How about if we have a governor that knows the difference between a bull and a cow? Folks, I grew up not far from here, just about 30 miles to the west of here, little town, Elmwood, Wisconsin. Grew up on a dairy farm. Yeah, Elmwood, hear it. Yeah. Great spot. Grew up with my 7 brothers and sisters. We learned the value of hard work every day. My job, 6 o'clock in the morning, I went out and fed the calves, went on to UW River Falls, got an agricultural degree, and then settled in the great North Woods of Wisconsin, where my wife and I started our own business and raised 3 daughters there. Wisconsin is a great state. We were blessed to be able to live the American dream right here in Wisconsin. And the commitment I make to all of you, we are going to make sure that your kids and your grandkids are going to be able to achieve their dreams right here in Wisconsin. Yeah. What we've seen, the state of Wisconsin has been in decline over the last couple years, and we can do so much better. And the commitment that I make to you is I will bring a record of results. I will bring common sense to Madison. And we're going to provide the leadership you deserve to unlock the great potential of the state of Wisconsin. Let's make Wisconsin great again. Yeah.
Do you have any comment on that for the win?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Congressman Derek Van Orden.
Well, at least we're getting the speakers on, so maybe probably another 15, 20 minutes of this, and we'll hopefully get to President Trump. So
Sure.
Who here is excited to see President Donald J. Trump? Yes. Yes. Guess who else? Brooke Rollins is here, our awesome Secretary of Agriculture. I want to welcome everybody who's not from the third to the third. This is the most beautiful, productive, awesome space in the entire planet, and you're welcome to our home. If anybody you hear says that Donald Trump and this administration doesn't care about the farmers, you can look them straight in the eye and tell them that's a pile of manure, because the man is right back there. Yeah. We're going to make sure that our farmers don't have to wring their hands at night because they're worried about paying the bills. We're doing everything we possibly can to make sure that people who aren't farmers that eat what comes off a farm don't have to wring their damn hands either. We're going to bring everything down, these costs down, and make sure that America is going to be great again, and we're going to be financially prosperous. And that is why President Donald J. Trump is here today. All right. So the sooner I get off the stage, the sooner I can actually come out there and say hi to you and shake your hands. I want to say this last thing. I hope that God blesses you and your family. I hope that God blesses the great state of Wisconsin, and that God bless the United States of America.
Wonder who they're going to bring out next. Any comments on what those last two said for the win?
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins.
Hello, Wisconsin. Who is so excited that President Donald J. Trump is here today with us on this beautiful farm in Wisconsin? Oh my goodness, y'all. Listen, a couple of really quick things, and then I think we're going to get this show on the road. Number one, there is no one, no president in American history, at least in our lifetimes, that loves our farmers and rural America more than President Trump. Can I hear an amen? There is no one that is going to fight more to ensure that we can preserve the last best hope of freedom in the world. And the only way to do that is to preserve this way of life. Rural America, the heart of America, the original founding of America, our incredible agriculture, rural America, farmers, ranchers. Can I get an amen? There is nowhere in America, nowhere in the world, but in this country, where we put our farmers, our ranchers, what we do, what you do every day, the righteousness of tilling the land, the hard work, the importance of feeding and fueling and clothing, not only America, but the world. Can I get an amen? Y'all, it is the honor of a lifetime to serve in President Trump's cabinet. It is the honor of a lifetime to be the 33rd Secretary of Agriculture. You all have to know that every minute of every day, of every week, of every month, we are fighting for you. And you have to know that we understand the extraordinary challenges that we are facing right now out in rural America. But I also want you to know that no one will work harder, no one will fight harder, and no one will be your back, have your back more than President Donald Trump. Can I get an amen? You know, the final thing I want to say is that we are celebrating the 250th birthday of America this year. And in fact, just in a few weeks in Washington and around this country, when George Washington, our founding farmer, also founding father, decided to stand up and to fight for freedom with Thomas Jefferson, with James Madison, with John Adams, they were just normal, everyday, average Americans who knew that God had called them for something greater than what they were doing, who knew that they were called for this moment in time to save freedom, to save our country, to start the best, most incredible experiment of freedom in world history. And now today, together in this hall, we are all called for that same moment in time. God bless you all. God bless Wisconsin. God bless our farmers and our ranchers. We will never stop fighting for you. God bless you all. Thank you so much.
Well, they have everybody there. For the win, welcome back, sir.
Sorry about that. I got a phone call from my Faja. So.
Well, that's all right. That happens.
Yep.
Pepper, Wisconsin says the president's motorcade is causing a traffic nightmare here in Wisconsin. Lots of people in town to attend a music festival, but they can't get through the traffic situation. Well, that happens. The president visits Florida all the time. Oh, that's right. He lives here. And Pepper, Wisconsin says, is for the win at the event.
I was really meaning to, but it wasn't in the cards. I had to help out my 90-year-old customer today, and they needed a little bit more help, so I chose to do that instead.
Yeah, that happens. You know, you have to work to pay the bills, sir. You have to work to pay the bills. Joe Cool says, Spin, had a blast last night. Thank you very much, Joe. That's our goal, is that everybody to come up and have fun.
Aha! How was that, Joe?
You know what, Joe? I'll go ahead and drop the link, Joe. Do you want to come up, Joe? I'll drop the link. There you go for the win.
I thought that was a pretty good impression there.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was. Or Joe Cool, if you reach out to me over on Discord, I'll give you the link. Oh, he can't. He can. He's too busy laughing. He's too busy laughing. Pepper, Wisconsin says, for the win, my brother lives a few blocks from the airport where he flew in.
I mentioned it before, but the craziest rally was leading up to the 24 election in Jefferson, Wisconsin, out of the Dodge County Airport.
Ah, okay.
And there were easy more than 60,000 people there on a Packers Sunday, a home game at that too, and just in the middle of nowhere. I mean, this is like roughly 40 miles away from Milwaukee area. I mean, this is completely out of everything. You're out in the fields and everything, and the runways were just packed with people. The cars were lined up all the way up and down and everything with multiple rows. They were in the fields and everything. I mean, I've never seen anything like it before. It was incredible.
Doctor says, how does it feel that Argentina is taking your soy production?
Well, can they take our soy men?
Our soy boys. That would be better. I'm just says farmers really think Trump supports them. Wow, some people can be duped so easily. Here's some more TDS for you for the win.
Cry harder. I don't fucking care anymore. Adults are in charge now, so
Yeah, adults are in charge. Yeah. See, here's the thing, and it's been said why they do not put young presidents or stuff like that, because they're emotional. They make and base decisions off emotion, and I believe them. Could you imagine one of these radicalized libertarians or Democrats get into the presidency of the United States? That's just scary to me. That is very scary. That's my opinion.
I hope we never see the day. I really do. But
Uncle Gun says, or excuse me, I apologize. Pepper, Wisconsin says, Wisconsin farmers are suffering due to tariffs, fuel prices, fertilizer costs, etc.
yeah, it's not just the farmers, it's all of us. But
Yeah.
there are changes being made that's going to make our lives so much better, you guys. You have no idea what's about to come. And it's going to be great.
Here's the thing. They will never be able to see any of the changes because they are so deluded in their own propaganda and rhetoric. They just don't understand. Uncle Guns comes in and says, I like Wisconsin. I like it 2.5 months of the year. Ha ha. Yeah, that snow and that winter. I have to say, yeah. That's crazy. Pepper, Wisconsin also says Shady Vance is heavily invested in a company that buys foreclosed farmland and sells it to corporations and companies that are in other countries. He makes money when farms fail. Do you have any thoughts for that for the win?
I've heard these sentiments about him before, and I mean they very well may be true. I mean, people make money on how they make money, but I'd like to state that I was never a JD Vance guy, ever. When he was running for Senate in Ohio, I personally like Josh Mandel a hell of a lot more.
Right.
Back then, Bannon had both Josh Mandel and JD Vance on War Room and gave him equal time and everything. And I mean, the difference was stark. Like, that guy really did a great job. And JD back then was not as good of a speaker as he is today. So, I mean, he's done a lot of work definitely in the last couple of years being, in the Senate and such like that and getting experience and things. But I wasn't a JD Vance guy, so I'll just say that.
And Myron wants to know, is this satire? Is this satire for the win?
The adults are in charge? No, that's real. That's real. Common sense is back.
Spartacus says J.D. Vance called Trump America's Hitler. When did he say that? I've never heard of that one. I've never. Have you ever heard that J.D. Vance called
that might have been a statement that I think he may have said before ever becoming VP. He might have said it like in his first year in the Senate, I want to say. Like, he wasn't a Trump fan back then. So
no, he wasn't.
But just because you weren't a Trump fan doesn't mean that people can change and you can be like, oh wow, this is what we need to be doing. And some people just need to see the light. All it takes is the right issue for you to understand why things are the way they are and what's causing that to happen a certain way and why he's changing those things.
That's true. The fourth wise man comes in and says fertilizer ammonia nitrate is just plant poison. It's similar to a roided gym junkie, pumped but weak and sick, ghost food, low nutrient density, and missing vital mineral state or elements. Well, I would have to tend to agree with that. You know, they're saying that they can grow grow meat in a laboratory and it tastes like it, but it's not real. And Spartacus says RFK also called him Trump Hitler. The same statement applies. I'll save you the breath for the win. The same statement applies. Anybody can change. But the left doesn't want any change. They want things the way they can take advantage of the American people. Period.
I'll say it like this. I'm going to make an example, and you guys can crucify me the hell all you want. I don't really care, but I think it's a valid point to be able to say and think and talk about these things where, Tucker Carlson says it best when Democrats or liberals, they say, you're a racist. And it's used as like this shut up speech, and they say it to just stop the conversation. And I think the Holocaust is kind of the same kind of verbiage, if you get what I'm drifting with that.
Oh, I get it. And you know, remember the conversation that I had with that gentleman at the protest? You know, the gentleman said, I don't want to talk to you anymore. And I watched the guy walk down to the parking garage, go into the parking garage. I can only assume that that gentleman got in his vehicle and went home. Because it's not that I was trying to change his mind. I asked him a series of realistic questions. And I wasn't trying to bait the conversation. But every once in a while, you find somebody that has common sense. And Just Fed Up says they were joking in reference to all the Nazi talk, saying, well, Trump is our Hitler. I agree with that.
So back to kind of what I was saying is that Holocaust speech stuff is kind of used the same way, where you just point at that and it's like, well, that happened. Shut up. And that's just how it's treated now. And then how we were indoctrinated into Anne Frank and everything else, and 6 million people, this, that, everything else that happened. And I question the narrative. I question the story. I mean, just because we're told something, is that truly 100% really, 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 really what actually happened? And I know it's a movie, but I'll quote, from the movie Men in Black. 1,500 years ago, everybody knew that the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, everybody knew that the Earth was flat. And 15 minutes ago, you knew that humans were alone on this planet. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow.
And you know what? Truthfully, I'm scared to know what's coming tomorrow. It unnerves me a little bit. The fourth wise man comes in and says ammonium nitrate became fertilizer after World War II. Nukes, which ended World War II, there was a 2 years excess supply of ammonium nitrate, not used for explosives. Victory Gardens was the next big lie, selling war stock. Any comments to that for the win?
Oh, he's right about the Victory Gardens.
Yep.
It
I agree.
instills a certain narrative of what happened. And we all know that, the winners of war write the history books. Maybe those winners weren't exactly telling the whole truth, or their reasoning was correct in how they won or where they were coming from. And the losers were ultimately the good people per se. But I think that's what happened in World War II. I don't think we got the full truth out of this. And I'll read what Pepper just said here. I feel we need to inform Dems and Repubs that this isn't about red versus blue or libtards versus MAGA. This is about the billionaires versus the rest of us. And she's right and wrong at the same time here. There is the rest of us 100%. But is it against the billionaire class? Because you still need billionaires in this world. They still are the ones who create the giant economies in the world, and that's how the world works. You still need them. It's not like you can just eliminate all the billionaires and then call it good. You still need a functioning economy in a world and stuff like that. So I would frame it more so, Pepper, as the shadow elite government figures versus the rest of us. The folks that are actually calling the shots from behind the scenes and everything against the rest of us.
Absolutely. I want to remind everybody, please like, share, and subscribe. We are live over on Spin City News, the Benjamin Balderson channel, X, Rumble, and Pilled.net. If you'd like to donate to the stream, please do, to the individual platform that you are on. It is greatly appreciated, and hopefully soon, we will have President Trump to kick us off in fighting for American farmers in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin. Pepper, Wisconsin says, appreciate your input for the win.
And to the previous talk about, what are we going to know tomorrow? Fuck, when the Epstein files, when everything is released one day, it's going to be so dark. It's going to be so despicable that you're not going to want to sleep at night. It's that bad.
Well, and here's the thing about these Epstein files. They released it 3 million plus. And the radicals and the conspiracy theorists, he's in there 40,000, his name's in there 40,000 times. But there is not one thing that implicates him in any wrongdoing.
Correct.
And that is where I get a little just frustrated with these people, because everything is Trump man bad, orange man bad. And look, what Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine, or whatever fuck her name, Maxwell, did to people, it's a shame. It should never have happened. It should never have happened. I mean, it's a travesty. It's a tragedy. And, however justice is served or carried out, hopefully that is enough to start the healing process.
And when it comes to Epstein and Maxwell, I mean, they're cogs in the machines. They're not like the end all be all. You put them in jail and it all just simply stops. No, the stuff is still going on. There are cartels today still trafficking people. If you care that much about those files, you should care about taking out those cartels. And that's what exactly Trump is doing with the Shield of the Americas. 17 countries all have a coalition together to rid the Western Hemisphere of these cartels. We're cleaning it all up. And I think that's something that we can all agree that needs to be done.
It absolutely needs to be done. Absolutely. And the irony of it all, the irony of it all is this. What about the other people in the Epstein files, why aren't you mad at them? Why are these people so hell bent, other than TDS?
Well, and to Pepper's point here, she just said here now, if you want to pull that up, Spin, kind of funny that the only person in prison is Maxwell. Where are all the men who participated in the abuse? I agree.
I agree
that
with
stuff
that
is
as
coming.
well.
But at the same time, this is kind of like that Pandora's box effect, where once you let the cat out of the bag, it's out of the fucking bag. It's going to be chaos. You're going to want everything and everything. That will happen. I'm not saying that it's not, but everything has to come in due time. And in my mind, what Trump has been doing since he came back into office is he's getting everything ready. All the pieces have to be in the right positions so that we can withstand the crap that's going to happen and that we can move forward as a nation ultimately. Because, if any of this stuff, or if he stayed in 2020 after that election being stolen, we were simply going to have a civil war. This is the path of the least resistance, and it's the right thing for humanity.
I agree. Alley Cat comes in and says Trump freed so many pastors and Christians that were held in other countries. Yes, he did. Did you see Joe Biden doing anything like that? I didn't. And you know what, Rainey? I have to dispute that. Okay. Rainey comes in and says most of the Epstein crimes happened decades ago, past their statute of limitations. Well, there's that statement is skewed. When it comes to SA or grape or stuff like that, there is no statute of limitation. I mean,
and Spin, let's also not conflate that. It's not like this trafficking stuff just started in the last 50 years, for example. This stuff has been happening since the beginning of time with these people and everything. It is now just finally ultimately being brought to light. Otherwise, this has been always done. I mean, explain how 700,000 kids go missing in this country. Where are they? Where did they go?
Well, and again, it seems for the win, it seems like everybody wants instant results. Everybody wants, they have that. If I want something done, I want it done now. Well, unfortunately, it doesn't just happen that way. And I understand that. Alley Cat says, stop blaming Trump. Trump is doing what he is supposed to. They all just want a fall guy, but Trump is not the one. The UK held Prince Andrew accountable. Why can't we do the same with our leaders who commit atrocities against children?
And it's exactly, Pepper, like I just said, it's going to happen, but timing is crucial. Timing is everything. I mean, right now you're going to witness the California races. Now they're going to be stolen again right in front of your eyes. Days and days of counting, ballots just being found again.
Absolutely.
All this, you can't tell the people, you have to show the people. And that's what's going to count moving forward in everything. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
You're just going to call him a dictator. He's Hitler. He's this. He's that. It's all of that.
Absolutely. And Sean Joe over on pilled.net comes in with the cookie and says Epstein was a free man till Trump came along. That's a fact. Oh, Timothy. Spin is one of them making excuses to agree with the bullshit dragging on. I am a realist. I am a nationalist and I'm a realist. And what I mean by reality, and I'll break it down to you just real quick. The tree has green leaves. Well, those motherfuckers are green. Okay? The sky is blue. The sky is fucking blue. That's how much of a realist I am. And it just, oh, here we go. Here's a conspiracy theory. For the win, would you?
I got this one. Sure.
Please.
Joseph Barnes, 2828, says the last election was fixed by Trump and his rich buddies. Complete chill and steal of the presidency. No, that's what actually the majority voted for, believe it or not. Sorry, not sorry. We are the silent majority for a reason. Democrats are simply the minority of this country. You may have captured 95% of the media, all these institutions, Hollywood, education, everything else, and the world looks like liberal in a liberal lens altogether, but it simply isn't, because that's where the money was stolen and that's where the money was put to destroy this country.
Oh, Alley Cat says Trump has the balls to do what other presidents were afraid to. I stand by my president. Thank you, Alley Cat, for that comment. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, here we go. For the win, here's another one for you.
Joseph Barnes, 2828, comes in again. Democrats are not a cult like Republicans are. Okay, believe what you want, dude, but adults are in charge now, so you can cry all you want. You can go harder.
Well, Spartacus, I'm going to take this one for the win. If Trump told you the sky was purple, you'd be saying the sky is purple. No. I actually have common sense too. Okay. I have common sense too. Thank you for your comment though, sir. Just Fed Up over on pilled.net says, so 2020 couldn't have been rigged too, right? No such thing as a secure election. For the win, you want to take that one?
It's all coming. Can you hear me? I don't know.
Yep, I can hear you. You're fine. I can hear you.
It's my headphones. That's what it was. It's all coming out right now. 2020 was an absolute stolen election. I mean, just here in Wisconsin, for example, the vote margin, I believe, was roughly about 21,000. And just in the indefinite confined category from the 2016 election, we were around about 68,000, and it inflated to 228,000. And then the state went ahead and removed a numerous amount of indefinite confined voters, and I think we're down to 144,000, which far exceeds that margin. Trump absolutely did win Wisconsin. He won Arizona. He won Georgia. He won Michigan. He won Pennsylvania. And the vote was ultimately stolen. And he allowed it to happen to show you people that elections are stolen. They are rigged. From 2016 to 2020 to 2024, every single election going forward, more people voted for Trump. Millions upon millions did in each election, one after the next and everything. And it took a candidate like Trump to be able to break the system. You can't steal votes if everyone's voting. And you can't have counties showing up with 120% overall totals either. You can't have more votes than people, folks.
And here's the thing. Just Fed Up over on pilled.net says most MAGA are America first, not necessarily following a party. Absolutely. I agree with that. And I'm going to tell you why. If I am very right leaning, okay? But if somebody on the left has the same values that I hold, which is a very high bar, or they would have to have a very high bar. Would I vote Democratic? It's a toss-up, a very big toss-up. Alley Cat says Democrats just want handouts and can't see past their inability to achieve high success. So they blame those who are ahead. Michigan loves Trump. Any thoughts to that for the win?
I'm sorry, I was reading the other screen. Let me read that again. Democrats just want can't see past their inability to achieve high success, so they blame those who are ahead. Michigan does love Trump, 100%. I mean, just take a look at 2020 in Antrim County. It is right up there, redder than red, and it went blue that year. Okay,
absolutely. You know, I just think. Here we go again for the win. Oh, God.
Again, I'll be excited to watch, but Steve Bannon did an interview with the Epstein, and that's going to be coming out this fall. And this is from a number of years ago, mind you. So the timing of this interview to be dropped is going to coincide with a lot of the stuff that I'm telling you guys. You're not going to like what you're hearing, because the people in the media that told you guys that 2020 was the safest and most secure election, they told you wrong, guys. Sorry, but that's what happened.
Well, you know, and here's my thoughts on this. Here's my honest, true thoughts on this. These people that just want to blame, they blame everything on one man. I have not seen anyone blame anybody else. They will not blame anything on Joe Biden. Joe Biden was the best, according to them, Joe Biden was the best president in all-time history, according to some of them. And, you know, here we go. There you go for the win. There's another one for you.
Fred Pierre says, listening to this is why I'm no longer a Republican Party member. And since I'll never be a Democrat, there's nothing political for me. Everyone needs to get their heads out of their asses. Yeah, I would agree with you, Fred. Absolutely. Get your head out of your ass. Because at the end of the day, you guys have to realize that the Republican Party and the Democrat Party are birds of the same coin. It's the heads and tails are the same thing. They are the uniparty. What I relate it as is Republicans plus Democrats minus MAGA is the uniparty. And he has to show you folks that it's both parties. It's not just the Democrats. And we're witnessing it firsthand right now in the Senate. You have John Thune stepping in the way of Trump on every measure that he can possibly take. It's wild. If we're truly a party, you go by the party line. Democrats walk in lockstep. Why don't the Republicans? And the answer is that you need to show the small majority that there is right now to be able to actually show that there are bad people in Congress and in the Senate. And that's what we're witnessing right now.
Yep. And, you know, all of those Democrat senators had something to do with Epstein. I can't wait. Just Fed Up says most are going to be so disappointed when they realize the truth about Epstein. It's not what most think, says Just Fed Up. Just Fed Up also says over on pill.net, I'm all for doing away with parties and running on your own merit. Well, I don't disagree with that either. Alley Cat over on YouTube says the Democrats that I know only talk about Trump and talk bad about anyone who isn't poor. And for the win, you can take this one. This is your fellow Wisconsinian.
Wisconsinite.
Wisconsinite. That's right. That's
there
right.
We go. Yep.
Hey, I was trying to give you something a little better, but okay, I'll go.
It works. We knew what state you were talking about. So if that's the case in 2020, why have they been unable to produce evidence of election fraud in 62 court cases? The majority of all those court cases, Pepper, were dismissed under laches and standing. There was never a case that actually things got litigated upon. And it went that way. It was designed to be this way because you needed to be able to see in this country the disparity between the Republicans and the Democrats and what they're actually doing to America, because it's not simply for America.
And Mudblood Beer says 81 million ballots, not votes. Same thing is happening in California now. And you know what, Pepper? Yeah, expose them all. Democrats or Republicans. Go ahead for the win.
And that's exactly what MAGA is trying to show everybody right now. Why are these people? Why are we $40 trillion in debt? Why does Congress spend like drunken sailors? Why do they do all these things? Why do we have money laundering going on overseas and they come back into the pocketbooks of our elected Congress people? Why is that happening?
Absolutely.
It's
For the
not-
win,
it's
I'm
not
going to have
us,
to have
David.
you. For the win, I'm going to have to send you. You're going to have to send me some Wisconsin Swiss, sir. I do miss that. Some fresh Wisconsin cheese.
You like that holy cheese, don't you?
I sure fucking do. Sean Joe again over on pilled.net with the cookie. Thank you very much, my friend. Good to see you as always, sir. And for the win, thanks for your feedback, sir, again.
You're welcome, Pepper.
I think we may be getting into the conference here, or the roundtable, that is. Yep, they're coming out now. I'm going to make sure there's no music, and we will be introduced to the President of the United States here momentarily. Cheese curds. Cheese curds. Yeah, I'm going to have to try that. For the win, put that on the list.
It's true. It's true.
Oh, Lord. Do you see the thing over on Pilled for the win?
I'm glad we're finally getting some trolls over on Pill. That's great. Glad you
That's
guys can
okay.
come on over. We appreciate you.
Yeah,
You'll actually learn something over there.
yeah, you might. As I just send them to a certain person. Alley Cat with the Big 10. Thank you very much, Alley Cat, for your support. We much appreciate it. Ah, God. There was one earlier for the win, too.
And let's not forget the executive order that Trump just did on March 31st about mail-in balloting and what he's doing with USPS. And that if you're going to be a state that's doing mail-in balloting, they're tracking all of the envelopes. There's barcodes. There's actually like a chain of security on all of them, and you know exactly when they get timestamped, when they get logged, everything. So if they want to try this thing where, oh, we just found a bunch of ballots after the fact, where's your barcode scan? It's not going to fly anymore.
Yeah. I just sent you know what to you know who for the win.
And I'll bring up another point with the farmers and everything where Mega lost their fucking minds a couple months back with glyphosate when there was an executive order done on that in which for food production in this country, there is no way on this green earth as it stands right now with our tech that we can grow 100% organic to feed the entire populace. You simply just need some of this garbage food. It just has to be done. There's no way around it. But that doesn't mean that we can continue the organic farming and such. And that's only going to grow bigger and bigger when people wake up to it. And that's what they're going to be demanding and such like that. So, but one of the biggest things about the executive order was the precursor of glyphosate is phosphorus. And the majority of our phosphorus was being imported from China. So a lot of that was having to be able to produce and create this stuff ultimately here and not having to be reliant upon another country to get it. So that was the big thing about that executive order.
Yeah, and I wanna say this. I was watching that Senate, or was it Senate or congressional hearing? I don't remember if it was yesterday or the day before. The days just run together in my work, and I have long days, 16 to 12 to 20 hours a day. And this gentleman was saying that Trump was falling asleep on TV. And they were bringing up clips that, the man was actually looking at his binder and his notes and everything like that. But it was the one with Marco Rubio. And I saw a clip of it. And I actually watched it as it happened, and I started laughing. Hey, the man has got a very tough job.
Well, I'll say spin too that I've seen the media over since he's been back in where they clip him and on a video you can take a picture at any moment on a video clip, right? And when he closes his eyes, they'll clip that and then say he's sleeping. They've done that plenty of times. But in this example, yeah, he definitely did kind of doze off there a little bit. But you have to keep in mind, guys, this is the hardest working president we've ever seen in our lifetimes. He's 80 fucking years old. I don't blame him if he dozes off for a couple seconds. It's just natural. I mean, he's human.
Well,
and if it was something, and if it was something where he was like Joe Biden and not getting anything accomplished, taking all this time off and not doing anything, I'll give you that. But the guy works fucking 20 hours a day at 80 years old. How many of you guys are doing that right now?
Well, hey, I know I get fatigued. I mean, for the win, look at all the panels we do. Look at all the stuff on other creators and other channels that we do. And yeah, we don't have to do it, but you know what? We do it in a controlled, constructive environment. Do we want to go out and do panels in the middle of the street where we're worried about getting hit with a piece of steel fence because we say something that somebody doesn't like?
It does take a toll. Absolutely. I mean, I'm a night owl, but with you guys and joining you guys over the last month and a half, 2 months, however long it's been,
yeah,
it fucked my sleep schedule up entirely. Like it takes a toll, man. It's like
it does.
All right, it's 3 a.m. Oh wait, now it's 5 a.m. and now the sun's coming up. Shit.
Yep. And the time just goes because you're so vested in the conversation. And then it's like I've done it a couple times. I've been on panels till 7 Eastern a.m. over on the Raging Tomato over on YouTube. And people just keep doing what she asks, and the panel just keeps going and going and going. And there have been a couple times where I'm like, I just can't stay anymore. I've got to go to bed. And, those are the days that I get in trouble with Mrs. Spin. Whenever it's 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, and she's getting up as I'm going to bed. So, yeah.
Yeah, it definitely takes a toll. And like you said, like being on these panels and stuff, like the time just flies.
It does.
It really, really does.
It absolutely does. Oh, here you go. Here you go for the win. Ugh. Just
Trump,
for you.
Trump is incompetent and hilariously corrupt. A president making $1 billion 2 years into his administration is unprecedented.
Alley Cat says Trump worked harder than any president ever has. I feel bad for him. He worked so hard and has to put up with crap from losers.
And how about and Allie, I saw your prior message. He's 79. He's going to be 80 here on the 14th. So he's darn near an 80-year-old.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he does not look 80.
Yeah. Yep.
He does not.
Yep. And take any president and a picture of him going into office, and then 4 years later, and look at the way he looks. Like they age like significantly. Like they look like they're 10 to 15 years older after coming out of office and such like that. Trump looks great for his age, guys.
He does.
And he's a workaholic. And I can't imagine, like, I think he's even said it too. He's like, if I wasn't working, I don't know what the hell I'd do with myself. He loves to make deals. He is a deal maker. This is what he's done his whole life. And, this is who he is. Some people love it, and he loves what he does.
Pepper says the Tomato Channel has kept me awake super late more than a few times. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm for the win. I hate to do this. I just can't get brain hurt today. I got work to do.
Hey, how's that fertilizer situation working out? It's being addressed, folks. All of it's being addressed right now. You can't just snap your fingers and say, boom, it's done overnight. All of it's happening. And there's so many moving parts to all of this. All of it.
Well, let's see. I think the president is going to be coming out here. Yep. Here comes our president, President Trump. I will turn the sound on here very directly. We're not going to be playing any type of music.
You got to play the music. Got to play the music.
I can't. It's YouTube. For as much as this man works and travels and is on TV, how can you not say he doesn't work 24 hours a day? I just don't.
And I don't think there's ever been anybody that has more of an important job in the history of the world than what he's doing right now.
And Scrady says TDS is a crippling disorder. It absolutely is.
Yeah, Scrady Wolf, 7081 Epstein is still alive. Yeah, 100% he's still alive. I 100% agree.
Probably. Who knows? If he is still alive, why do I care?
In Valhalla, yep, along with Charlie, you got that right.
Yep, that's right. Here we go, folks.
Turn it up, Spin.
It is. It's not on my end. There we go.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Rookie mistake.
That wasn't my rookie mistake.
I know, that's why I said it.
I
Yep,
just
rookie.
did an interview in the most beautiful barn I've ever seen. Ken, it was a beauty, but it was raining. And it was with NBC Fake News. And because it was
Fake news is real, folks.
with them, I
Fake
was
news
not
is
happy
real.
with them. But we had a good time. I just want to thank everybody for being here. We love the farmers. We love everything about your state. And you know, we won your state by a lot. And we've had great success here in Wisconsin. And we brought a lot of business to Wisconsin. We recommend it. I love the place. And hopefully you're going to be voting Republican because, frankly, Republican is, I call it the sane way to go. It's the sane way. Because what I'm seeing from the Democrats, they're going to have some problems. And by the way, if they don't, if they win, this country is finished. We're in trouble. So I hate to say that you have no choice, but I don't think you have much of a choice. These are some very sick puppies that I'm looking at that are running for office. And on the other side, I call them the Democrats, D-U-M. You take out the B. A lot of people don't know dumb has a B. You take out the B and you change the E, you put the U, and you have a Democrat. But their policy is just outstandingly bad. And it's really bad for the farmer because we were having record stuff and then we had to put out a fire. We had to extinguish a nuclear weapon, a capable nuclear. This was going to be a very capable country that was going to have a massive nuclear presence, and we weren't going to let that happen. Nobody wanted that to happen. And we've largely finished that, you'll see.
You'll see.
One way or the other, it's finished. One way.
Where did that uranium come
one way or
from?
the other, it's finished. It's either finished with a piece of paper or finished a more difficult way, although you could say a much easier way. As you know, with Iran, they have no Navy. 159 ships in 4 days. Even Ken is impressed by that. 4 days, 159 ships at the bottom of the sea. Not that we like that, but that's the way it is. And the blockade is unbelievable. There's never been a blockade like that. The Navy is, we have the greatest military anywhere in the world. There's never been a military like it. And if you remember when all the heat I was taking from the Democrats will be nice. I'll use Democrats.
For the win, can you take over for just a
But
minute? I
if
got
you
to
remember
roll away for
the
just
heat that I had
about
to
two
take.
and a
Sure
half
thing.
minutes.
Sure thing.
Help for the farmer and also to get help for the military because they don't want anything to do with the military, the farmer, or for the most part, they don't want anything to do with anything good. And that's why the midterms are coming up. And I hope you people are really spiritized because we're at a point, we're going to come out of Iran very quickly and it's going to be very strong, one way or the other, whether it's a piece of paper or the very tough way, okay? The very tough way is maybe the easier way, but we're going to come out and your fertilizer prices are going to go way down, just like they were 4 months ago. Your fertilizer's down, your energy's down, your oil, your gas is all coming way down. And frankly, I thought it would go much higher than it did. I thought, frankly, that gasoline would be much higher than it was. I was in Iowa, another place I like a lot. And it was just before we started the excursion to Iran. And we passed gas stations. It was $1.85 a gallon. And we're going to get them down to those numbers again very quickly. But as they say in the farming business, we had to take care of business. Look at this guy over here. I don't know who the hell he is, but he is one hell of a specimen, I can tell you. This guy, this is one hell of a physical specimen. I thought I was big until I met you, Joe. You know, you're fantastic. That's what I like. Anyway, I just want to let you all know that I'm thrilled to be here at Custer Farms, and Ken and his family, they're amazing. I took pictures with them backstage and got to know them a little bit. They're really amazing people. They built this country. You all built this country, not the complainers, not the wise guys. You all built this country. And I just want to And I just want to let you know that Wisconsin, for me, has been just a great place. You know, it's known as difficult. It's difficult. You got to be good to win. But we won here, as you know. We won it a lot. And we're trying to figure out who the few people that voted against us are. We're looking for them right now. But today we're celebrating the historic strides for some of the most loyal, hardworking patriots anywhere in the nation. And they're really called our American farmers. And we're with you 1,000%, or I wouldn't be here. With you like you wouldn't believe. And you're going to see some very good things happen over the next 90-day period. I told Ken, 90 days, watch what happens. You're going to be better than you were 4 months ago. And before we begin, I'm delighted to report that for the third month in a row, the jobs numbers, I guess you saw them this morning, they just got released and they smashed all expectations by actually 3 times with and this is during a military conflict. I call it that because it's really not that much of a war, but it's a military conflict. It's a practice. But this is 172,000 jobs were created in May. That's about 4 times higher than anticipated. And experts predicted 30,000 jobs. These are the strongest job numbers of the entire administration so far. And that's during this conflict on top of it. So it's great. And, you know, we have a problem in this country because it used to be, I'm a little older than a couple of you, but I don't feel old. I feel the same as I did 50 years ago. It's crazy, Mr. Senator. We got a great senator right here, Ron. But I do feel the same. But in the old days, you know, if you had good job numbers, like great job numbers like they announced today, the stock market goes up. Today, everything is crazy. The whole world is crazy. So when you have great job numbers, the stock market goes down because they think interest rates will go up. And when interest rates go up, they stop inflation. Well, you know what else stops inflation? Growth actually stops inflation. And they ought to go back to the old system. When we have good numbers, the markets ought to go up, not go down. And that's the way you build greatness. You build greatness that way. So I think we have a great gentleman coming in, Kevin Warsh. He's going to do a fantastic job at the Fed. We're getting rid of too late. But we have, Kevin is one of the greats. So you're going to see, but you're going to see beyond anything, you're going to see numbers coming in over the next more than 2.5. We have 2.5 years plus. Can you believe how time flies, right? And can you believe the work we've done? You know, it's sad because you have speechwriters and you have advisors and you have all these people. And generally, you don't like listening to any of them because if you do, you're in trouble. But I said, you know, I want to write about the border. And I want to talk about the border because when I came here, we had the most unsafe, we had the worst border maybe anywhere in the world. There was no border. 25 million people came in. Drug dealers came in. People from mental institutions came in. Murderers came in. 11,888 murders, most of whom, over 50% of whom, killed, can you believe this? More than one person. One killed 7 people. We allowed them into our country. We've got them largely. They're going out, and they're going out fast. We have to fight crooked judges, crooked administrations, crooked politicians, but they're going out fast. But we have the safest border in our history for the last 12 months. And this is a hard number to believe, but I don't give it. It's a number that's out there. You've heard it. 0 people have come into our country through our southern border. 0. It's a little hard to believe, but it's true. It's a little hard. If they said like 20 people, I would have been, 25 million came in through Sleepy Joe Biden. So we had 0 people. And these are done by largely sort of a radical leaning left people, the reports, but it is what it is. And the good thing is they don't try to come in. It makes it a lot easier because they know it's going to be very hard to come in. Now, we take people in, but they have to come in legally. We want people to come in, but they have to come in legally. But I say, let's talk about the border. Sir, nobody cares about the border. I said, I won the election on the border. Let's talk about Sir, I'm telling you, nobody cares, Ron. Nobody cares about the border. You fix the border. I want to brag about it. Sir, they want to hear about other things like fertilizer. And we'll take care of fertilizer too. You know, when I also came in, eggs were like the highest. And remember this, I inherited all these high prices. They came in and they said, affordability. They made up the word because that's the only thing they're good at, although I'm good at making up words. They go, affordability. I was there one day and I said to our great Secretary of Agriculture, what's with the egg prices? So on my second day, I gave a news conference, which is more news conferences that Biden gave in like 6 months. But in my, he almost did. He didn't do it. Yeah. Sleepy Joe was not heavy into news conferences, all right? He'd take one question, he'd go, oh, let's see, Jim Smith from NBC. I don't do that. They just start screaming at me. But so I had a news conference on my second day, and they said, what about eggs? What about eggs? Tell me about eggs. I said, what's the story with eggs? Give me a little hint. What's with eggs? They said, what's happening with eggs? And I was told, you know, we have the great Easter egg hunt at the White House, and I was told to order plastic eggs. I said, I'm not ordering plastic eggs. And I called this young lady right over here, Brooke Rollins, Secretary of Agriculture. I said, Brooke, get the egg prices down, please. And she got them down. And by the way, speaking of, Tom Tiffany is one of the best congressmen in our country. And I was there, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, right at the beginning. I endorsed this guy. I didn't know, I had no idea, but I liked his last name. You know why? Because I bought the air rights many years ago off Tiffany, and I made a lot of money. So I saw Tom Tiffany, and I backed him, and he went like a rocket ship, and he won, and you've kept winning. And now he's running for a thing called governor, and you have... And you have, I don't want to knock him because he's finished after this, but you have a very sleepy governor too, and you got a very sleepy, but I can tell you, Tom Tiffany is running for governor. He's a winner, and he's going to do a great job, okay? Right? Good luck, Tom. So in a single month, we added 7,000 new manufacturing jobs and 17,000 new construction jobs, and we're building more plants than at any time in the history of our country. We have $18 trillion coming into the United States. As an example, the previous administration, in 4 years, think of this, had much less than $1 trillion come in. We have $18 trillion from countries and people all over the world in 11 months, not even in 1 year. So that's some difference. And I think that's probably why people are shocked to see the job numbers, because the construction jobs are through the roof. But when these plants, car plants and AI plants and all the different plants, that when they open up, you know, we're leading China by a lot. I just got back from China. I was with President Xi, who I respect. But we're leading China by a lot in the AI race, a very important race. And we're leading everybody now when it comes to cars. They're coming in from Germany. They're coming in from Japan. They're coming in from Canada. Canada treats you guys rough, you know? Canada, they put on big tariffs. We didn't meet them with tariffs. I took care of them my first term really strongly, and I am now. But Canada's been very rough. You find them rough to deal with? Yes, you're pretty rough to deal with. He's more of a diplomat than me. And we are doing well. The previous 2 months, we were revised upward by nearly 100,000 jobs. They put the numbers too low. So actually, we had 100,000 more jobs than they reported. They were obviously Democrats, right? Wages for workers continue to rise, and for manufacturing workers, wages are up more than 8% since I took office, which is close to a record. Think of that. A blue collar is doing better than it's ever done before. And your farmers, if you remember, we had a bad patch in my first term where China and other countries were sort of boycotting the United States. And I met with the farmers and I said, I'm going to get you something for it because you've been treated very badly. And I got $28 billion for the farmers in the first term. Remember? I just asked Ken whether or not he got it. He said, I did. And we're looking at something also right now. We're looking at something to take the place of what's happened because it's artificial. What happened to you is artificial with the energy and with the fertilizer. So we're looking at something. But in the first term, I got the farmers $28 billion. And I'll never forget, I was in the White House. I had about 35 farmers along this big, beautiful table. Not as beautiful as this table, okay? But this gorgeous, beautiful White House table, all the best. And I said, I'm going to get you a subsidy. And they looked at me, and he just said the same thing. One of them looked at me, stood up, said, sir, we don't want subsidy. We just want an even playing field. I said, nobody ever said that to me. All they want is money. You understand that? First time. Nobody ever said that. I've had so many meetings with different groups, different industries. If I said, I'm going to get you $28 billion, they say, oh, get it. It's fair. They actually said, we don't want it. Now, I got it for you anyway. I didn't notice anybody turning it down, but I got it. But they said something that no other group said, Ron. They said, we don't want a subsidy. We just want just an even playing field, fair trade. They just wanted to be treated fairly. And nobody else has said that but the farmers. So we love you. We love you guys. So we're building more factories now than at any time. And we've also had huge drops. And I'll tell you, this is something that's amazing. African American unemployment is now doing better than it's ever done. And I don't know where that stat came from, but I'll take it. I don't know where the hell that stat came from, but we'll take it. And a short time ago, we were a dead country. We were dead as a doornail. If you look, go back 2 years, we were a laughing stock all over the world. We had a president that couldn't walk up a flight of stairs. He couldn't walk down a flight of stairs either, you know. And we had everybody, we were a laughing stock all over the world. And I was with the King of Saudi Arabia because I wanted him to invest trillions of dollars into our country. Look at that whole situation now, too. It's very interesting. But he was good, and he said to me, you know, President, it's amazing. A year and a half ago, we thought you were a dead country, and now you're the hottest country anywhere in the world that we are. We're the strongest, we're the hottest, and we're the most respected country anywhere in the world. So, as I said, the stock market just hit 73 all-time records in a short period of time. We've had 73 all-time record highs. And your 401ks, who has a 401k here? Let me just say, a lot. Your 401ks, as you know, just hit a record high. So that's everybody. And we're just off a very big success in Washington, D.C. We had, it doesn't sound like much, but Washington, D.C. was not properly managed or kept. We had 22 fountains. None of them worked. For the last 50 years, none of them. They were graffiti strewn. I did it the inexpensive way. Why should we have a screen? Everybody here has good vision. I want to show you something. Look at this. I'm going to show you the cheap way, okay? We don't want to bring screens. It costs too much money. Look at that. That's before and after. Look at that. Look at it. Can anybody see that? That's before. It's our nation's capital. That's what look at this graffiti all over it, filthy, disgusting stone. The stone was all horrible. And look over there, that's before and after. Then we had the reflecting pond, 2,500 feet, massive, longer than a building. We have a stat here that's sort of great. Can you guys see this okay? Because I'm too cheap to put up like a projector. Look, so that's the pond. If we're standing up. Here's your Sears Tower, Empire State Building, World Trade Center. Look, it's double and triple the size in terms of area. So it would have cost $400 million, Ron, to fix. It would have taken 4 years. And they were getting ready. Doug Burgum's done an amazing job. And I said, you know, rather than doing that, they were going to put stone down, big stone, granite, wonderful, but it all leaks because you have joints. So being a very good builder, I said, you know what? I built a lot of swimming pools, many, many swimming pools. Every time I do a development, I do swimming pools. I know more about swimming pools. I said, why can't we put the wonderful material, which is thick, pasty, beautiful, like rubber, but industrial strength? Why can't we use it? And let's pick the color blue from the American flag, which is what we did. And that is the most beautiful thing that you've ever seen. And look at that. I mean, look at that. It just opened yesterday. We just opened it. So there was going to take 4 years, 400 million. It took really about a month. Okay, it was going to. Can you imagine Washington between Lincoln? Think of Washington D.C. between the Lincoln Memorial and the Washington. Just think about this. You know that beautiful spire in honor of the great George Washington and the beautiful Lincoln Memorial. So between there, thousands of feet long. It was built in 1922, and to be honest, it never really worked. It leaked like a sieve because it was stone and concrete. So I took over the project. Now, Barack Hussein Obama, have you heard of him? Barack Hussein Obama spent, and Joe Biden, Sleepy Joe, they spent a total of about $150 million trying to fix it. They never got it opened. It never worked. It was terrible, disgusting. It was garbage ridden. And I said to my pool guy, I said, take a look at it. And he said, well, sir, we can do it. We'll get industrial strength. And I used some guys, not him, I used some guys, but he gave me some good ideas because he's a pro. You know, they got very upset when I sent my pool person. I said, who else am I going to send? So I sent him over, and we sprayed it and put down beautiful, like a pool coating. It'll last maybe 50 to 100 years. So here's the thing, 400 million versus like 10 million, 4 years versus a month. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? And the difference is, look, here's your Lincoln Memorial. You have the Washington Monument and the Lincoln Memorial. Look at that. Beautiful. Look at how that reflects. It's like a mirror. Oh, beautiful, clean water. They had like garbage. Barack Obama wanted to save money, so he took the water out of the Potomac. That didn't work out too well. A lot of things were coming out of that river into this one. It wasn't good. So we just think of it. So like a month of this work, we actually added to it. We did the sidewalks because once we did this, we had to do the rest because it looked so good. But think of it, 400 million versus like 10 million bucks for a better job. 4 years versus a month for a better job. We have many things like that. I talk about that all the time. We do a lot of things like that. So we're very proud of Washington. We had 22 fountains that didn't work. All of the fountains, not one fountain in Washington worked. Out of the 22 fountains, they're all looking beautiful, just like the one I showed you. And now they're clean, they're beautiful, there's no graffiti. Washington, D.C. is a safe city. It was a very unsafe city a year and a half ago. And a very unsafe city. Your child would go to see the Jefferson Memorial or the Washington or the Lincoln or any of them and would oftentimes not come back. It was a horrible place. It was horrible what was happening. And we put our great military in there. We did a job. We removed 5,000 people that were career criminals. 2% of the people, think of this, 2% of the people, did you know this, Ron, create 91% of the crime. And I love that statistic because you can get rid of 2%. And we took them out. We brought them back to where they came from. They came in, many of them came in through Sleepy Joe's open border policy, one of the craziest policies I've ever heard. So we saved a lot of money. And you go to Washington, D.C., new grass. People say they don't even recognize it. We did that all in a little bit more than a year. And even I said, I mean, it's amazing. But maybe the biggest thing is we don't have, it's considered now a very, very safe city. And you can go there and you're going to be 100% perfect. We had the restaurants were all closing and now they're opening up. They don't have enough restaurants anymore. It's like, it's a beautiful thing to see. Every day, my administration is fighting to protect and defend the jobs and livelihood of our great farmers. I love our farmers, our growers, agricultural producers, ranchers from coast to coast. Under the last administration, Biden and the radical left Democrats in Congress crushed farmers with brutal restrictions, crippled you with the worst inflation. So the Biden administration had the worst inflation in the history of our country. They say 49 years, 48 years, but whether you say 48 or forever, I think it was forever. We had the worst inflation we've ever had. And think of that, and failed to negotiate even a single new trade deal for our farmers. They didn't negotiate one new trade deal for our farmers. I just made a great deal. I came back from President Xi, and he's buying billions and billions of dollars worth of soybeans and other things, and you're seeing that starting to kick in. Thank you. So by contrast, in my first year back in the Oval Office, average farm incomes for agricultural producers in our country have skyrocketed by more than 20%. Now, it's been over the last couple of months since we went in for the military operation. You've seen fertilizer go up and you've seen energy go up. It's going to come down to where it was or lower. You'll be very happy. Otherwise, Ken is going to call me. He's going to bawl me out, and I'll say, oh, sorry, Ken, I was only kidding, right? All right. He knows I'm going to do it. With Republicans in Congress like Tom Tiffany, like Derek Van Orden. Where's Derek? Derek. This guy he fights like hell. He's in a little bit of a community that tends to be on slightly a little bit more than we wanted left, but he loves them all, and he's very popular, and he's going to win by a lot. You're doing well. I understand you're really doing well, so thank you, Derek. And he's a real fighter, and he's a great guy. We've been friends all of us. We've been friends right from the beginning. So we passed the largest tax cuts in American history with a great, big, beautiful bill. We made the small business tax deduction permanent, benefiting 98% of the farmers and ranchers. We gave you 100% expensing and bonus depreciation. So when you buy a new tractor or anything else you buy, you're allowed to deduct it. You buy any new tractors? Got a lot of nice tractors back there. Got a lot of tractors back there, by the way. But so you can deduct it, the full cost of the tractors, 1 year, any equipment, 1 year, all. You can deduct it all in the first year instead of over a period of many, many years. And we also saved the $2 million. Thank you very much. That's a big deal, actually. We also saved the $2 million American farms from, think of that, from extinction by ending. What we did is we got rid of the estate tax or the death tax. So if you love your child, if you don't love your child, then don't worry about it. It doesn't make any difference. Does anybody not love your child in the audience? No, but if you have a farm like this, someday it's going to come the time, right? And I met your boys, and he loves his boys. I know that because he started clapping for that last statement about no death tax. And he was clapping. He didn't clap for anything else. That means you love your boys. So, boys, I just found out your father loves you. But think of it. And I was seeing this in my first term. We did it my first term. We did it now. We extended it out. So you have no estate tax, or no, we call it the death tax on a farm or a small business. Now, I saw it myself. You have a way of life that sometimes you're land rich and cash poor. Sometimes you're lots of different conditions. But people that are on farms love being on farms. You wouldn't trade my life. You wouldn't want my life. Believe me, you don't want it. Your life is much better than my life. I will tell you, your ear wasn't a little pierced over here. You didn't get pierced. You have a nice, safe, beautiful life. But I've seen it with farmers maybe more than any industry. People want to have their farm. It's a way of life. And they love the life on the farm. And the family would leave. The father would die. The mother would die. Leave it to the kids. The kids would have a big estate tax problem or a death tax problem. They'd go to the bank. They'd borrow a lot of money, more money than they should have borrowed. Couldn't make a deal. And they'd end up losing the farm. In many cases, I have to say, they'd do terrible things. They'd commit suicide. They'd lose their farm. They'd lose their way of life. They couldn't pay the tax. And I got rid of that tax. I ended that tax. So I hope you're happy. Right? Thank you. And the Democrats fought me on that, by the way. If they ever got in, I think they'd end that. But if something happens, if you love your child, you want to leave it. You have no estate tax, no death tax to pay. And every single Democrat in Congress voted against these critical measures. They voted against the no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. They all voted against all of this stuff. They voted against a tax reduction. They voted against all of it. And they voted against saving your family farms from the death tax. So just remember that when you go into the polls, because they'll change it back immediately. There's something wrong with these people. All of these things that we have done. And Tom, Tiffany, I have to say, you were so helpful. And Derek, what the job you've done with me and helping to get it passed. And let me tell you, that man is a senator. He loves the farmers and he loves your state. And he doesn't care about anything else. He wants to make sure you get treated fairly. And there's no better advocate. You have no better advocate than Ron Johnson. So thank you, Mr. Senator. And he'll be a hell of a governor. I know the guy, he'll drive you crazy. He'll be calling me, President, you got to send more money to Wisconsin. Leave me alone, all right? He'll do well, too. Thank you. As president, I fought for the American farmer like no one has ever fought before. Nobody's, like I'm up here today. I don't need this. I got elected. I don't have, what the hell do I have to be here for? I got elected. I'm here because I like the farmer. I mean, when you think about it, I guess there's a lot of truth to that, right? I could be home right now in the beautiful White House, watching somebody else on television talking. On day one, I terminated the insane electric vehicle mandate. They wanted your tractors to be all electric. They wanted your cars to be all electric. And, you know, look, Elon, he had a bad moment, but now he's a friend of mine again. He had a very bad moment. He's 80% brilliant and 20% he's got little bad moments. But I love electric cars. But you know what? Not everybody wants them, and not everybody, in terms of distance and lots of other things. And I think they're great, but I also want to see all gasoline. I want to see the hybrids, which are great. I want you to have anything. And they wanted your tractors, you know, they wanted the tractors to be turned into all electric. And that didn't even sound good to me, right? That didn't even sound good to me. And it wouldn't have worked very long. You would have had to stop every 15 minutes to get a new charge. How would it be if you're driving your tractor along, everything's wonderful, and then Ken, he wants to work. He goes, oh man, I got to go get a new charge every 10 minutes. That's not too good, right? You'd rather be able to operate it for about 4 days before you fill it up, right? So anyway, so we solved that problem. We ended the electric mandate, okay? And on day one, and one of the other reasons this would have gutted the ethanol industry. Do we have fans here of the ethanol industry? Okay. Because if they got in, they will end the ethanol industry in one swoop. So you better remember that. And we eliminated all unnecessary restrictions on sales of E15. And I've made it clear that we're going to go E15 all year round. And I think it's something that you want, right? So what, you like that? Are you happy with that? Are you happy? So they put a lot of these guys, that's all they talked about, E15. They were driving me crazy. They call me, can we talk about E15? How about something else, right? Tom Tiffany would call, can we talk about E15? But anyway, but you got your wish, fellas, okay? And we massively expanded crop insurance and issued a historic $12 billion in farm relief. So it's 12 billion, but it was 28 billion in my first. So we're looking at that right now about increasing it. And to stop major equipment manufacturers from restricting you from fixing your own farm equipment, we gave you the right to repair. Do you like it? The right to repair. It was a little strange. I mean, some of you are better mechanics than the people at John Deere. No, I will love John Deere, Mr. May of John Deere. But they wanted to, you know, your tractor is broken down. I'll bet you can fix a tractor as well as about anybody else, right? I can look at this guy. I guarantee if you were mandated, let's say you have a tractor that's broken and you know exactly how to fix it, you wouldn't be too happy about being mandated to bring the tractor back to John Deere or wherever you got it, right? You'd like to fix it. Not so much. I mean, they actually have, the Democrats, a restriction that if you get caught fixing your tractor, they bring you to jail. You know that? You know that I pardoned a man last week who was sentenced to 7 years in jail because he got caught fixing his car or his truck. I said, I like to always say, what did he do? Sir, he was fixing his truck. I said, how long is he getting? 7 years. I said, say it again. It's the first time I've ever heard it. Like 2 weeks ago, I gave him a pardon. because he had to go to jail because he was fixing his tractor or his truck. So I promise, Ken, if you ever get caught fixing your tractor or truck, I will give you a pardon, okay? No, but these are the crazy Democrats. That's what they want. I terminated the ridiculous so-called diesel exhaust fluid requirement. Does that mean anything to you? Big, right? Joe is happy, so I want to keep him happy just in case he gets violent. He's happy. And I repealed the Biden-era EPA, just the crazy waters of the United States. So it sounds so nice. It's the worst rule that you've ever had. Waters of the, how could it be nicer? What a beautiful title. It was like taking your land away from you. It was horrible. And I totally repealed it. And there are some people, you know, when I did that repeal, I had a lot of farmers and contractors, builders, house builders in my office. And I announced the repeal in front of them. I signed it. And these are tough guys. In fact, they look like him, just smaller. And who isn't smaller? I think everybody's smaller. But no, they look like Joe. And they were crying. Half of them were crying. You remember that? Half of them were crying. I said, why are you crying? What's the big deal? He said, you gave us back our life. They actually had their life taken away. They couldn't touch their land. If they even touched it, they were in violation. They also would go to jail. That was the crazy environmental nonsense that we're all putting up with, which has largely ended. Perhaps most importantly, with our historic trade deals, I've dramatically expanded exports of American meat, poultry, soybeans, biofuels, and of course, Wisconsin dairy, the best, right? And I just see that dairy exports have surged nearly $1.2 billion under our leadership, and this is with a conflict going on. Remember what I said, Ken, when this conflict ends, you're going to see things that you've never seen before, because we are ready to rock. We've never had this kind of investment coming into our country. Nobody else has either. Nobody has ever had anywhere near, not even near, including China. Nobody's had this kind of investment coming in to a country. So increasing 41% to Japan, you've increased your sales. 41% to Japan, 48% to the Middle East, 61% to European Union, 63% to South Asia, and 85% to Australia. So you're doing pretty well. You're going to see it, and you're going to see it a lot better in about 3 months from now. I also signed something that you may or may not like. I don't know. It sounded good to me. It didn't sound very bad to me, but people love it. I also signed the Whole Milk for Healthy Kids Act. You know what that means? That was another one. I had a big signing at the White House. We had some people that have been fighting for that for years. I called Ron. I said, Ron, what's to fight for? I mean, it just sounds good. And it's just better. It's healthy. And I like it. I drank it. I don't know. It gets harder to get it. Now we have it. So that, you know, it's totally opened up now for the kids. And it's great for anybody. And now we're working with Congress to quickly pass the new farm bill. We're very well into it. We got some great approvals, the hardest approvals. And I think we're very well on our way to getting the farm bill finished and approved. And just to finish up, with the help of the farmers like those here, today we're also helping bring down grocery prices for hardworking Americans, and they're coming down very rapidly. Remember, I inherited these prices. I didn't start them. My prices were great. They rigged the election. When I turned, the election was totally rigged. It was a rigged election, just like they're rigging the election right now, it looks like in California. Can you imagine? It's 4 days, and they still aren't even close to telling you who won. You know why? Because they're rigging the election. That's why. 4 days. You know, in Spain, they had it like, I'm not a big fan of Spain, to be honest with you. It's gone very far left. But they had an election. All the votes were in, similar size to the state of California, a little larger, actually. And every vote was in by 10 o'clock in the evening and counted. You're going to be waiting weeks to get these votes. It's corrupt. Somebody said it's incompetent. I said, no, just the opposite. It's unbelievably competent if you happen to be a Democrat politician, because with their policies, the only way they can get elected is to cheat. And when you look at an election, not even relatively a big election, for one state, for one city, for Los Angeles, they're nowhere close to counting the votes. But you look at what's happening, it's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. And the people that were supposed to win, bad things are happening. It's a crooked state. We have crooked third world elections in a lot of our states, and we should pass our Save America Act. Amazing. And that'll really stop it too. That'll stop it. You know, that's where you have voter ID. It's where you have birth of, you know, your citizenship. You have to prove your citizenship. I think that sounds good. And also, you know, I added a couple in there. Also, the ballots, the voting, the mail-in ballots, so crooked. They send millions of ballots out all over the place. If you're a Democrat, sometimes you get 6 or 7. If you're a Republican, you have to call up, where are my ballots? It's such a crooked deal. We're third world country. But I added 2 things. No men playing in women's sports. And this is like best of. No transgender mutilization surgery on your child, on your children. None. So we added them. So we inherited very high costs, and we're getting them down. They're coming down very rapidly. And when fuel comes down, they're really going to come down. And I just want to say it's an honor to be here. We have Senator Ron Johnson. We have Congressman Tom Tiffany. We have Congressman Derek Van Orden. We have Hall of Fame offensive lineman Joe Thomas. Oh, that's look at the size of this guy. Good. Boy, oh boy. So you're a Hall of Fame. Did anybody get by you? Never. Never. He's a good-looking man. That's great, Joe. It's great to know you. Really good. Great career, too. I know who you are. Former president of Line and Kugel Brewing Company, Jake Leinenkugel. Thank you, Jake. The owner here of Custer Farms, and he's a great guy. I think I can almost call him a friend. We had a great time back there. And a wonderful family. Ken, thank you very much. Yeah. And a fantastic dairy farmer, Jamie Witzpalek. Where's Jamie? Jamie? Hi, Jamie. Thank you. And finally, 2-time gold medal winner in speed skating in this year's Winter Olympics, Jordan Stolz. Where the hell is that? Whoa. Oh, that's pretty good. Whoa. Stand up. Stand up. Yeah. USA, 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 I'm keeping it. I'm keeping it, Jordan. I'm not giving it back. I'm a very good guy for keeping gold. I like it. I'm never giving this back. Congratulations. I forgot to touch his leg. I didn't want to do that. But I can tell you one thing. His leg is like a rock. That's fantastic. 2 gold medals. Wow, that's big stuff. Thank you. It's an honor. And speaking for my other athlete up here, that's pretty good, right? And you go through big competition with a lot of great athletes, right? Are you going to be doing it again? Another Olympics?
I plan to be doing it until 2030, as long as I can. Until Salt Lake City in 2034.
Well,
so that'll be on home soil.
We're going to be watching, okay? You could do it again. Right. So, if we'll go in order, if I can, and we'll start with Brooke Rollins and go to Ron Johnson and Tom Tiffany and Derek. And Joe Thomas, would love to have you say a few words, because you can tell us about real tough life, and it's tough in those pits, right? Pretty nasty people in there. You meet some large, nasty people, but you can handle it. And Jake, we're going to ask you to say a few words, if you would. and Ken, and we'll go pretty quickly because I have to get back to fighting a war in Iran. There's a hell of a speakers list. We might be here all night. Yeah, if we can, fellas, I got to get back to a place called Washington and protect you, okay? So if you go very quickly, we don't need your life story other than I like the Olympic guy and I like this guy right over here. And Jordan Stalls would like to have you say a couple of words too, okay? Hey, Jordan, why don't you start? Go ahead.
Well, first I want to thank you to all the farmers who are here, and I don't think people really understand how much you guys make a difference in the country. I mean, you guys are the backbone of the nation, and for me, myself, personally, I try and eat as clean as possible, and, you know, a lot of steak, a lot of dairy, and, you know, you guys are the backbone of Wisconsin, so I just want to say thank you to all the farmers and everybody who could make it here today, and of course, to the president.
That's a winner. Tough to win like that. Yeah, it's a very tough when you're dealing with fractions of a second. That's a tough thing to do. Congratulations. Secretary, if you would, go quickly. Thank you.
Very quickly, how about a big thank you to God for the rain and the farmers and for President Donald J. Trump. President Trump mentioned that when he came back into office, we inherited an almost $50 billion agricultural trade deficit, meaning under Sleepy Joe Biden, not one new trade deal was struck, and we lost $50 billion of market access around the world for you, our great farmers. But in just a little over 1 year, 19 new trade deals have been struck. The markets have opened around the world. We are going to break every record for dairy, for tree nuts, for corn, for ethanol, as we move the American farmer's product, the best in the world, back out to the rest of the world, while at the same time inheriting inputs that had never been so high in the history of our country, whether that was fuel, fertilizer, labor, interest rates, seed, one after the other. And those numbers all were coming down significantly. And as the president promised, will soon come down very soon again. Sir, there is no better American than the most American of all Americans, and that is our great American farmer. God bless you. Thank you so much, sir.
Ron Johnson, please.
Mr. President, welcome to Wisconsin. Again, you certainly have paid a lot of attention to our state, and we truly appreciate it. Like you, I met with these great farmers backstage, and you
Spin City. Spin City on the screen, got the room on 10. Breaking news, panel smoke, then he does it again. The bass in the morning, debauchery at night. He steps in loud and he don't back right. Clip it, post it, watch the chat explode. One more take, then he takes the road. He talks that talk with a grin and a stare. The other side's talking, he already there. Hold up, here he comes. Hands in the air, let the verdict come. No more hush, no more shade. Spin City live and the whole place sways. Spin City, Spin City. He don't play it safe. Spin City, Spin City. Bringing fire to the face. MAGA on the mic, and he says what he means. Spin City, Spin City. Shaking up the scene. Spin City. Panels in a circle, everybody wants a turn. He leans in hard, let the hot takes burn. Protest on the ticker, riot in the thread. He talks over the chaos with a raised up head. Yell a little louder, make the point land clean. Cut through the noise like a headline machine. If they come for the room, he comes right back. One more clash and the whole beat snap. Hold up, here he comes. Hands in the air, let the verdict come. No more hush, no more shade. Spin City live and the whole place sways. Spin City, Spin City. He don't play it safe. Spin City, Spin City. Bringing fire to the face. MAGA on the mic, and he says what he means. sing.